All right, so you already know what it is. 297's in the book. We have to talk about that decision. I waited on purpose to do this video. I wanted to let everybody else get their videos out so I could see what they were saying, because I rewatched this fight, and I'm telling you, you are not going to convince me that I'm wrong about who won this fight, and I'm going to tell you exactly why, and I'm going to point you in the direction of a rewatch, and it's not close. This is not close. This is not close, okay? Sean won, and it's not close. And when you go back and rewatch, I guarantee you, you will agree with me. And the Weasel has this wrong. Normally, I'll go watch the Weasel's, did they get the decision right? And generally speaking, I'm like, yeah, I agree with him. He's got this not correct for sure. And I will tell you exactly why shortly. Not only does he have it wrong, everyone has it wrong who is saying that Dricus won. Bottom line, go look at your favorite YouTuber. If they're saying that Dricus won 3 rounds, I'm telling you right now, I would call them out by name if I had seen it. They're wrong. They need to rewatch the fight. Also, Dana destroyed some woke journalist that was trying to ask him about Sean Strickland and freedom of speech, etc. And I have a lot of thoughts about Sean Strickland as a fighter, what, his status in going forward, what the company intends to do with him, because he's a superstar. Bottom line, superstar. He might not have won, but he won. He won. A champion, when they fight at the top of the card, is not only trying to win the fight, they're also trying to win the crowd and cement themselves as a staple in the UFC that has a big profile. Like, some guys are incredible at capturing that energy, just turning themselves into a magnet for positive reactions and making sure they're connecting with the crowd when they do these events. I cannot stress enough how rare it is for someone to be able to connect with the crowd like Sean does. This is not a fluke. The fact that he says the things that he wants to say or whatever, obviously he's down to say whatever. And I'm going to tell you something so funny about the presser when he went off on the woke journalist that I did not talk about yet, even though I covered that ad nauseum. But oh my God, I completely missed this, and it's hilarious. But bottom line is, Sean is a superstar. He won that fight. It was a bad decision, and we'll talk about that shortly. I thought Dricus won the first time. Let me make that perfectly clear. I watched it through. The first time, I thought Dricus won 2, 3, 4. Wrong. I was wrong. Like, not even like, not arguable. I was wrong. And anyway, we're going to get into that. I'll tell you which round Sean won out of those, because he definitely won the first and the fifth. Now let's jump straight into this thing. I want to thank the sponsor of this video, Sheath Underwear. I'm giving them a free extra spot right now because I love these dudes. If you want a chance to win a pair of Jordans for free, you can go to sheathunderwear.com, buy something, anything you want, send a receipt to realjesseonfire@gmail.com, and you'll be entered to win a pair of Jordans. And I accidentally picked 2 winners last month. I really did. I forgot that I had picked a winner. And so 2 people got Jordans. So good for them. So take a look at just this section, which is the end of his breakdown of the second round.
The second round. So let's tally up all the strikes. Who really won the second round, ultimately winning the fight? By tallying up all the strikes, Sean Strickland landed far more shots over.
Okay, so that's where his problem is. All right. So Sean Strickland landed 31.5 strikes to Dricus's 16 of the lights, or whatever. No, 35 to 24. All right. And so the logic by which people, or where the Weasel gave that round to Dricus, is solely on the fact that Dricus landed the harder shots and he counted all of Sean's strikes as light strikes. Dude, you're telling me that jab is a light strike? It's absurd. There's no way that anyone could defend that, dude. That jab's a light strike? Ask Dricus if that's a light strike, okay? He completely shut down Dricus's eye after the second round. His second round, his eye looked like this. All jabs, okay? And here's where there's just no argument here. It's like if every one of those shots that Sean landed with a jab is a 2, there's no conversation here. Absolutely none. If Sean landed all of those, and we're not talking harder, we're just saying he threw a 2 instead of a 1, okay? There's no one arguing this at all. And honestly, when you watch it again, when you watch the second round again, you're not going to argue it either. It's not close. And I'm saying I'm giving Weasel the benefit of the doubt that I bet you what he did is he watched it slow, you know, and he's just going frame by frame. There is no one with a trained eye who is going to rewatch the second round and tell me Dricus won. No one. You will not do it. I guarantee you. I'm telling you that. I'm saying this assuming that 80% of the MMA community that does content will see it. You will not watch that second round and then come argue that Sean lost that round. You won't do it. But I will actually leave Weasel with the challenge. You, guy, watch it in fast motion, not going through in slow so you can screenshot. Watch it fast. Watch it fast and tell me that Sean Strickland lost that second round. I don't believe he'll do it. I don't believe anyone will do it. I do believe that you will subscribe to this channel, though, because you are much more brave than the people who are afraid to do so. I'm a man. I subscribe to Jesse on Fire's channel. Don't tell me you're a man. You're not a man. Did you see me just click subscribe? I'm a man. I've tested this theory already this morning with eyes more trained than mine and yours. And they agreed with me. Thought that Dricus won the first time, watched it again. They were like, I don't know what I saw last night. Like, it's like a completely different fight. I'm like, I know. There was something about the tension in the air, I think, that was making people misinterpret what happened. It's like, it's really bizarre, to be honest with you. That was a very bizarre experience for me watching that the second time. Really weird, because I saw it completely differently last night. I don't even understand how that works, man. It happens all the time, too. You know, you get super worked up and you're really, really kind of anxious about the outcome. And by the way, so you know how I always tell you guys that sometimes the way I bet on fights is I'm so emotionally tied to certain fights that I'll bet the opposite way of how I want it to go. Because then it's like, all right, well, if my guy loses, then I win a lot of money. You know what I mean? And I'll basically bet with the size of how much I actually care, you know? So like when Anthony fought, I bet a lot on Roundtree just because I'm like, I will happily lose this. I will happily lose this if Anthony wins. Like, that's fine. It's a big number. This one, I bet heavy on Du Plessis. And not because I actually think Du Plessis is awesome. I think he's a great champion. I think he's got the energy of George St. Pierre. Someone smarter than me told me that this morning. And I thought that was exactly right. He's a class act. He's a great fighter. He's very unorthodox. And I actually want to talk about his style after this too, because there's something to be pulled from watching that fight going into future fights with anybody that I want to talk about in a second. But I think he makes for a great champion. I thought he fought really well. He just didn't win the fight. Bottom line. I don't think Dricus with a straight face could watch that second round and tell me that he won. I honestly don't. I really genuinely do not believe anyone on Dricus' team could watch that second round back and be all, yeah, Dricus won. I'd be like, how? How? But here's what I wanted to say. Oh, I was talking about the bet. So I bet Dricus by decision, and all of you guys who were on my live yesterday can attest to the fact that I said that was the best bet on the card. Dricus by decision was paying out 9-1. 9-1. You know anybody that bet that? Because I bet that. So I bet Dricus to win, and I bet Dricus by decision. And man, I won a lot of fucking dough last night. But again, when the decision was coming down, I was still hoping that Strickland was going to win. If for no other reason aside from it just makes the sport more exciting. And listen, dude, I make money doing videos. You know what I mean? That's how I rationalize it too. I'm like, if I lose this bet, I'm going to make that way back on videos about Sean when he's champion. But the reality is that Sean ain't going nowhere. He is a superstar. That's not going to change. But I really like the world where he's the champion. I really do, dude. And speaking of that, I don't know if anyone else saw it, but you know how like a phenomenon where any of you guys do jiu-jitsu and other martial arts too, I'm sure, that like when someone belts up, like it affects certain people differently, you know, where some people handle, like as an example, like someone belts up and they start losing to people of the same belt as they were 5 minutes ago. You know, guys they've done a million rounds with that they go 50-50 on, and then they get belted up. Like it's a blue belt. He gets belted up to purple. He goes back and fights one of the other good blue belts that like has always given him a hard time. That guy wins. And it's like, all of a sudden it like really breaks their brain because they're like, oh, I'm supposed to win the round now. You're like, hey, dude, they literally just tied a different belt around your waist. Like, he strangled you last week 3 times. What the like, you know what I mean? But then there are other people where their game elevates immensely. Like, just boom, put the belt on them and they're like a different fighter. And I saw in Strickland that phenomenon very much in the first round. In the first round, I've never seen Sean look like that. Sean looked like the champion who knew he was the champion. Like, his energy was totally different. Like, he carried it like he's champion. And that is important because when he gets the belt back, and I do think he will get the belt back, he's too big of a star not to get another shot. And I like him against any of these. Well, man, Khamzat is a nightmare for everybody. But man, if he can shake Khamzat off for the first round or two and not get submitted, man, he's gonna beat the brakes off of Khamzat on the feet. Beat the brakes off of him. But anyway, neither here nor there. I do think he gets it back, and I think that he will carry it like a champion. You could just see it on him, you know? Like, when he beat Izzy, he looked shocked to get the belt. But last night, he looked like the champion, especially in the early rounds. Anyway, but on Dricus, right, one thing I wanted to say about his game is that he is, first of all, absolute congratulations to him, and congratulations on demonstrating that no one was correct when they were saying that his cardio was suspect. He does not have suspect cardio. He fought 5 rounds hard and was not gassed. Good for him. Also, his style is very unorthodox, but no one can ever say that that's unintentional again. Bottom line. People saying that Dricus' style is, you know, kind of sloppy. It's not sloppy. He's definitely not sloppy. It is intentionally unorthodox. And you know that because he was able to make the adjustments that he made through the second, third, fourth. So in the first round, his distance was all over the place. He just couldn't get near Sean, right? And then in the second, it started getting better. I think that is probably why some of us interpreted it the way that we did, you know, because it was like, okay, now he looks like he's having more success, you know? So you're comparing it to no success in the first. And then, so in the second, you're like, okay, he's kind of finding his range. So people are like, all right. I mean, because you don't even really, like, as I'm saying this out loud, I actually think that I'm partially figuring it out. If you don't know how important one round is, you're kind of like, I don't know, man. So you don't even analyze it very well. You know, like, you don't even really like analyze it well. And so if you have a round like that, you're like, I don't know, man, I think he looked good. And then they win the third and the fourth. In your mind, you'll just be like, oh yeah, they won the second too. Cause like, and that's no, nope. He definitely did not win the second, right? But he made incremental adjustments, which then in the third and fourth started paying off. I mean, paying off big, right? So he started landing head kicks. He's coming at those overhand rights started landing. So it's not like he's sloppy. It is absolutely intentional, and it's intentional to the point where he can make minor adjustments that will then dictate success. He is very, very good and is going to continue to do well, I think. So that's what that is with Dricus and Sean. And I have a lot more to talk about today. So I am going to go ahead and chop this one down, and I'm going to tell you what's coming next. So the next video, I'm going to talk about what comes next for Sean Strickland, what comes next for Dricus, because they're not doing a rematch. I'll tell you why they're not doing a rematch. I'll tell you what's going to happen in the forthcoming things. I'll tell you why the UFC is, I mean, they're fucking Sean, dude. It's not their fault. It's unintentional. It's not the way that they intended for it to work out. It's a very unique situation, but Sean's getting fucked now. And, you know, it is what it is. Or maybe they're not fucking Sean. Sean's getting fucked. Not the same thing. You know what I mean? It's not the same thing. Them doing it to him. It's not the same thing. But nonetheless, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about Dana absolutely eviscerating that woke reporter and then being like, are you sure you want to go down this road with me, pal? So I'm going to do that video right now. Anyway, I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I love you. Bye-bye.